Paul Goldsmith.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to speak in this debate, and it's fair to say that few budgets in recent times have received such a warm reception than the fifth budget of Bill English's time as Minister of Finances. Very positive reception. So we've had some stories today about business confidence in New Zealand, and business confidence has been strongly rising since the middle of last year, according to the ANZ's monthly survey. And it has hit the highest level since April 1999. And members of the House might wonder what's significant about 1999. It was actually in the previous national government that we saw the same levels of business confidence. And so a net 53% of respondents expect the general business situation to improve over the year ahead, up from 50% in June. That's a net 50%. Business assessments of their own outlook remain high. And construction firms are upbeat. Agricultural is still, according to that survey, wasn't the highest, but that survey didn't capture Fonterra's announcement that it's lifted its forecast milk price for the 2013-14 season up to $7.50. So the combination of higher prices and increased production can be expecting the economy to boost by a further $3 billion. So we have great cause for optimism, and the ANZ survey showed profit expectations increased to a 14-year high, driven by the service sector. Investment intentions remain at their second highest level in 8 years. Employment intentions are very high. So the ANZ's composite sentiment indicator shows that, combined with the Roy Morgan survey, is pointing to a potential for 3.9% economic growth by the end of the year. So these are very positive stories. Then if you turn to the country's business leaders, we saw the overwhelming majority of respondents in the 2013 Mood of the Boardroom survey indicating that New Zealand is going forward over the next decade. And when rating the prospects for their own businesses and the domestic economy, the majority of business leaders report they are more optimistic than they were a year ago, more confident that over the next 12 months we'll see increasing staff and investment in capital and IT. And I could quote from the Business New Zealand CEO, Phil O'Reilly, Bill English has really been an exceptional Minister of Finance. He has been, quote, sober, boring and sensible, but the macroeconomic settings have been just right, and he deserves credit for that. So it has been a very positive reception, and I won't mention the polls because that would be that would be gloating. And but generally, we have certainly had a warm reception for this budget that we are debating in this House today. And New Zealanders know, they feel it in their bones. They know that this country's finances are well managed, and this budget confirms that New Zealand is on the right track. Growth is amongst the best in the OECD, unemployment is falling, real wages are rising, inflation is subdued, and interest rates are the lowest in decades. And the government books, this time last year after the budget, nobody believed that the government would be back in surplus by 2014. Oh, no, they're not going to make it. There's no chance of that. And what do they say today? They know that we'll be back in surplus, and this country's books are going to be back to where they should be. So this country is confident that the government knows what it's doing, it's disciplined in its spending, it's extracting better value from its core spending in the public service, and it's providing that secure and stable environment in which businesses feel confident to invest, to grow and to employ. And that's what this country needs, and that's what is going to provide the strength behind the incomes and put the food on the table of the New Zealanders who are trying to do their best. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have challenges in this country. Of course we have challenges, and there is no need for us to be triumphalist in what's going on here. So what we have, we're certainly making good progress in improving the welfare system that we have in this country, and Paula Bennett deserves a great deal of praise for that. getting some boundaries around a system that has been growing and no questions asked for decades, and getting some boundaries around that system and showing that, actually we believe that everybody can work and should contribute, and it's actually best for them and their families if they do have that opportunity. The other area that we hear a lot of concern about, quite rightly, is housing, particularly in Auckland, given the rapid increase in house prices in Auckland, which on the face of it is no bad thing. If you have a house, that's something to be enjoyed, but it is a concern for people wanting to get on the housing ladder, and it is a concern for the potential stability of the New Zealand banking system, where so much money is invested in housing. So rightly, this budget was very much focused on addressing Auckland's affordability issues, and we have seen over the last few days all manner of options thrown up as a potential solution. We hear constantly from the Labour Party about how a capital gains tax would somehow miraculously solve this problem, notwithstanding the fact that a capital gains tax on housing in Australia and the UK, US have done nothing to avoid similar housing bubbles over there. And more recently we've had suggestions around overseas buyers. And there's no question that there is an issue with the demand for housing, and we do need to deal with these concerns in a thoughtful and considered way. But what we refuse to hear any talk on the other side is an acceptance of the basic need to build more houses as quickly as possible as the best means of getting houses. Well, yes, it's very easy to talk about waving a wand in the government somehow with its great track record in building houses as somehow going to come up with 100,000 houses for 300,000, notwithstanding the fact that the price a plot of land in Auckland, average plot of land, is much more than 300,000. But so despite promises which nobody believes has any grounding in reality, when it comes to the crunch, do you support the efforts that the Honourable Nick Smith has made in reaching out to the Auckland Council, reaching out to Len Brown, people that we don't necessarily agree with on all manners and all shapes and sizes, reaching out to him and coming up with these housing programs and special housing areas, and actually doing something and making a difference? What happens? Do we get the support that we deserve? Do we get the support from Labour? No, we don't. And all we get is schemes, dog whistles, and all sorts of focus on the edges and on small elements of the broader issue, and refusal to accept the need to focus on increasing the supply. So that's what this budget was focused on, and I commend the work of Nick Smith and his team in making progress on that. Just getting back to the broader issues, let's not forget the four priorities that has been the essence to the support, I think, and support that and confidence that we see in the business community, which ultimately leads on to investment, growth and jobs, is in the predictability and consistency of the government's messages over the last 5 years. The predictability about responsibly managing the government's books, about building a more competitive and productive economy, about rebuilding Christchurch and delivering better public services. So for 5 years we've had that consistency from this government. We haven't been lurching to the left and lurching to the right, changing our mind every 5 minutes, getting in all sorts of tangles. We've been demonstrating consistency over the key issues around the economy. And while other people on the other house can fool themselves into thinking that everybody is concerned about their little side issues and their little politics, when you look down to it, most people are concerned about the strength of the economy, and that they've got good money in their pocket, and they've got prospects of a good job, and that their children have got prospects of getting a good job. And that's what this budget has been delivering, because it has been showing that we're building we're back on track for surplus, and looking around the rest of the world where there is low growth, where governments are struggling to deal with their debt and not actually getting on top of the fundamental issues. New Zealand, by contrast, has so much to be pleased about in the progress that we've made over these past 5 years. And I just hope that we'll be given the opportunity for Bill English to have
the member's speech has concluded right on the time it is for the House to rise. So this debate is interrupted and set down for resumption next sitting day, and the House will stand adjourned until 2 p.m. next Tuesday, the 6th of August 2013. Have a good evening, everybody.